It's neat.
Oh,
Welcome, the
oh.
real and raw. I'm Lynn Serrano.
I thought I was Lynn. Wait a minute. Oh, no, I'm Brian.
Oh my gosh, my cameras are twisted today, so I don't know what I'm doing. So, welcome, Brian.
Welcome, Lynn. I'm glad you got the controls down because I don't have any control whatsoever. Well,
Except being here. So, we'll be right back after this. Welcome back, Brian. How are you today?
I got a lot of stuff going. Just
Yeah.
got a full list of stuff to go. So this good old laptop's going to be screaming right after this show.
Woohoo. Okay. So, thank you for actually phrasing and doing the topic for us. Change is inevitable, and lean into it, because we were having a show or talking in Messenger.
Debbie.
Hi, Debbie. Hi, beautiful Debbie. And I've been going through a little something something the last few days, and it just it hit me hard. I guess next week, next Thursday, we'll be trying to watch and waiting for a
Wonderful.
client meeting, and
No, we
not great
appreciate your
service.
viewership. We appreciate it.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you so much for being here. And so, well, next Thursday when we're on our show will be 7 years ago. My mom passed away, and I had my mom's dog for 7 years, and now my mom has her dog back. And so life is very different and quiet, and I do have my one little puppy here. You might end up hearing him. We'll see how that works. But it brings perspective for me, how things do change and how things get affected and whatnot. So I thank you for wanting to talk about this title about things are, they don't stay the same, do they, Brian?
No, and I think that we're not going to touch on all of like the cliched type of things that are said. We're coming at it from an achiever standpoint. We're coming at it from people that are making an impact in the world. They're not going to allow stuff to get in their way. Now, are there setbacks? Of course, for human beings. But we're coming at this from a place of not telling you things that are like motivational. We're coming at it from a place of like you can either walk around every day and resist change, or you can lean into it and look at it as an opportunity.
Right.
And I think that that's where we want to go with this, is that it can either be an opportunity or it can be a detriment, but you get the choice of it. It's kind of, I mean, change is inevitable, whether it's tech, chat GPT, which is a new open source AI platform that's going to revolutionize the way that things are done from anything that people write or whatever. However, though, when it comes to college students or kids writing papers, how are you going to track their validity of if they actually did it or if they just popped something in? So I just had to throw that out there because, I mean, change is such a big scope thing. But at the same time, Mary's here. Thanks for being here, Mary. But we're coming at it from a standpoint of like leaning into it, because it's like you can either like it's kind of like dealing with mourning the loss of somebody. You can either deal with it and go straight through it and feel everything and go through all the different layers of grief, or
Mhm.
you can resist it and never becoming complete with it. Change,
Right.
I think, is a lot of the same. You can either embrace it and look for the opportunity, or you can be in denial about it and, I don't know, kind of just be like, well, I would never do it that way or whatever. I mean, it doesn't work that way. Change ultimately is something that, whether you're open to it or not, you will have to conform to it to some degree.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah, I have a platform with the GPT involved in it, and I'm going to do some fun stuff with it. But the bottom line is, don't worry about the AI or whatever.
no,
I mean, it's just the speed of everything. That's the level we're at. There's
yep,
still we are the humans that, even if you use GPT, and even though it can use it in a funny tone, whatever, compassionate tone, whatever, you're still the reader. You're still the one that has the final say
right,
in how it's presented in your own words. And so you can also give it some of your writings and say, hey, this is the writing style, and then help. And so I think what I like about it is the fact that it's a new way of thought, but yet it can be more efficient. And like everything in life, you got to look at the pros and resistance is futile. Yes.
Yep.
And the thing is whether you like it or not, certain things are here to stay.
Correct.
And you either let it be for you or against you. It just depends on what your mindset is. Off the subject, but Brian, where are you? When are you publishing your book? I did not tell her to say that.
Yeah, it's
I really
okay.
did. Really didn't.
That's a good
Um,
question, Debbie. I have no end date or whatever. I know that we should probably get Jerry on here for another kick in the pants.
no,
Um,
no.
it's something that has to get done, but I have no movement on it as of now. So
Yeah. Well, like everything, I mean, I have a couple shows that I'm going to start next month, and I haven't started them this month because, I have other things. My health is getting better, and I've had to deal with the dog and just a bunch of things. But like you said, you still have them in the forefront. You have to prioritize. You have to look at reality that we all have to sleep and eat, take time to do certain things or work a job or, obligations or shows or whatever you have. But you
mhm.
gotta remember that, so you finagle things, you move things around, and, she goes, "That would be nice change
Okay.
for you,
Yep,
publish it."
I agree. I
Well,
agree.
and the thing is what I will say is I'm proud of Brian because he really does have everything written, and he has his cover and everything.
Yeah.
I think for him, and I think what's great is, nobody can push really anyone, but what I love is I think it's gonna be the timing's gonna be right. Whenever he does it, it's gonna be right.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I know that. So, oh, James Hunter's here. But
And
it go
And
ahead.
and what a lot of people may not know is that I work very closely with my graphic designer, and I create lots of wedding guides. I create lots of guides. I take inspiration about a topic. So I am doing things behind the scenes of writing
Yes.
like professionally produced
Yes.
guides. I always want to have a portfolio of articles and professionally produced
Mhm.
content with my branding and whatnot that's linked, and I can keep all the links on my phone. I can do like little video vignettes to further explain and go deeper on each point. You know what I mean? Because that's where society goes is like, okay, go deeper on something, right?
Yep.
And I'd rather
Yep.
have that wealth of, I take every written piece and I strip it out the videos. I upload the videos. I have links. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because I want to be resourceful like that.
And that's what I was gonna say is,
Thank you, Debbie.
and Lenny is correct. Change is only constant in life. And I mean, Lenny and I are gonna have a podcast here soon too.
That's
And
cool.
all I'm saying is that there is a lot of behind the scenes that people don't understand and don't see. And you can't put the horse in front of the carriage. I mean, like you have steps and things that you just want it to be just so.
Right.
And so, but then the nice thing is people always see the finished product. It's just like a performance. People see the night of the show and they're like, "Oh, this was a piece of cake or whatever," but they don't understand they were working on that for 3 months,
Yeah.
4 months. And
Well,
so,
Well,
you
like that
know,
old, I think it was Picasso, when that Picasso or Michelangelo, one of
y-
those famous people, is where a girl saw him doing his thing and wanted to contract him to do a picture, right, of her or whatever,
mhm.
and he had it done in like 5 minutes, and he said to her, "Here you go," and he's like, "That'll be $50,000," and she's like, "Well, it only took you 5 or 10 minutes." He goes, "But it took me 50 years to make it that quick,"
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
exactly. Exactly. So I mean there is different perspectives in looking at things, but I think going forward as long as you're working on these things in the, back end, I think it's always great when a production is ready and it has its props and meanings and things like that all in place.
Well,
And so yeah, hey, look at even Yellowstone the series, right?
yeah,
Remember that one year we like thought it was going to come out in June and guess what?
in
We
November.
had another 5 months to wait, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
even the best things that are planned are,
Well, and the big I can hey, Sandy's here.
"Hi,
The
Sandy."
biggest thing I can say is that is what I will have to do is because a lot of these guides that I write are short-term things. So the turnaround is pretty quick. Depending
Yeah.
on the workflow of my designer, it might be a week or two or a month, but something of this nature when I'm ready to finish the book, I mean, obviously, you know, I will have people in mind that I want to read it in advance and write a forward, and I have to do the ISBN type of thing with the number and the category.
Oh,
Um,
that part's a piece of cake, but yeah.
but what I'm saying though is that it's it's not like it's going to be done, in a couple days versus like what I'm used to with the guys that I produce. So
Right.
it will be a mindset shift, that I will have to endure because it's not going to be done in a week or a day. But at the same time, it will get done. The first one will get done because I just have to elevate my game to published author versus staying a published writer.
And Brian,
Which there's nothing wrong with that, but
no.
I want to
And
elevate higher.
and Brian, we have the Miss Elite of USA
Oh,
watching. Hey,
oh,
Miss Laura.
Lars,
Yes, she's
happy
here.
Thursday.
Thank you for watching. So yeah, I think what people don't understand is that this is a personal thing for everyone, and then you get to where you need to be. And like, I'm excited because we're going to work on a podcast together, and then you're going to be on one of my new podcasts. I mean, it's just all the stuff that's in place is pretty exciting.
Mhm.
And once you start something, you make it a commitment, on the outward part, but it's all an internal thing of working on presenting and doing. And so changes try micro done.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
and then even inside of that, I mean, there's also a disruption piece that I've overcame is that a book has to look a certain way.
right.
Whatever that is, everybody's a little bit different, but the inner workings of being around you and Jerry and other people, then plus also though like how books are consumed these days, they no longer have to be this very boring looking thing or it has to be a certain
Mm.
amount of pages. It does not
No,
have to look that way anymore.
no,
They
no,
can
it's
be
not.
micro books where you put them in your pocket, right? And that can be a very effective marketing tool where you give away like the small little condensed version. So you pretty much write the full book and then you write a condensed version and people go and buy the full size version, but then you have condensed versions for a little screenshot for somebody to give away.
Right, and
So,
that's what I love about Chat GPT too. You could take your whole book, stick it in there, and say, "Can you do a condensed summary of this?"
wow.
And it will do it for you, and it's your own words.
Yeah.
They're just and it's done right in front of your very eyes. Back in the day, the Flintstones had when you took a picture of the bird, go,
Yeah. Right. How'd that
so,
go again, Lynn? How'd that go again? Yeah. I
so
just had to ask again just because you did.
Brian, I love you. You just get me in a great mood. You just make just
And
you
I
inspire.
think along one of these things too, with change, is that there's an immediate response, especially if somebody's really resistant to change. Imagine if somebody instead of like whatever it is, they say no or I don't know how to do that. If they even just stopped and said nothing,
Right,
and look for the opportunity or just what marinated on the thought of whatever it is
right.
instead of the first words out of their mouth is something of friction or something of rejection or something of resistance. That might open up a lot of doors for people.
I've been working on this on myself lately a lot, and then I love when I see it with other people is that when they can take ownership to say, "You know what? It's my fault. I haven't done the work," or,
Right.
you know, just the different things that you just realize that it's so easier to say, "Yep, just haven't done it yet." It's, like your book, you're working on it, but, you don't owe anybody an explanation, but people are curious because they just people are gonna biting at the bits because they're excited for the material.
Well,
And
oh, go ahead. Sorry, I
no, go
interrupted
ahead.
you. And plus, I need to give kudos to Scott McCain. Uh, he's a story expert, customer experience expert, but he always rings in the back of my brain from a standpoint is you're never going to be able to control what somebody thinks about your book or your writings.
Mhm.
And I'm fully over the fact. I mean, writing a book. I mean, you could speak to this more than I could, but if you're going to be held back by how somebody's going to respond or think of you, by writing something that they might not agree with,
Yep.
how many other people are you sure changing that could benefit from your writings? And so I'm
Right.
fully past the point of view that I I'm gonna that everybody's gonna like it or that
Oh, of
everybody's gonna
course.
resonate with it. You
Of
just have
course.
to give all that up.
I've heard, and matter of fact, I'm glad you said that because even Jerry and I mean, I think there's several people who said, Lynn, I'm writing this because you wrote it, or I'm reading this because you wrote it,
Mm,
and I can hear your tone and all these things. And it's like, because I wouldn't normally read somebody's, personal life stories, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. So again, it comes for people getting closer to you, respect you, support you, all those different things. But again, you don't even do it that way. I mean, as far as memoirs and stuff, you do it for your children, you do it for generations to come, you do it for the sense of, I just need to get this off my mind. I just need to let it go. And for me, that's what it was letting go a lot of that stuff. I haven't thought about it. It was freeing to release it and say, whatever, throw it on the wall and spaghetti,
Well,
whatever sticks.
and keep in mind is that this thought just came to me, is that change is not a collectivistic thing. Change is an individual thing. Now you
Mhm.
can make it collectivistic, but it's probably not going to help you too much.
Yeah.
Kind of like
Yeah.
writing a book. Are you allowing the opinions of other people that you trust or don't trust to get it out there? If you are, okay, maybe I consider new friends, right? Versus the ones that are like, hey, they're willing to push you, even if you're scared, even if you don't think you have to have it all together, whatever meaning you're making it, as opposed to those people that are always there to challenge you, but they're not going to condemn you. They're gonna they're gonna support you, and just like you said, they'll read a book that they more normally wouldn't have read just because it's you,
Mhm.
you know. And I think that what holds us back a lot of change in life is where we take the view or opinion of others and we make it our own. It's almost
Yeah.
like we defeat our own cause by not even choosing.
Well, and that's the thing, that's why I say, if you're not rushed to, publish a book and be an author yet, so what? I mean, I had my different reasons of rushing my copy and
Hmm.
to be an author real quick, but just to feel the tension and feel the stress and all those different things, but to have compassion for those that have just put stuff out there. And I mean, I didn't even put all my stuff out there. I just put some of it to see how I feel. And it's been a great thing to do, because I mean, this is just, it's here. It is what it is, and it made me feel better. But you do it for your personal reasons, and anything comes after that is all that matters. But as far as change inevitable, I mean, you can never be ready for a death. You can never be ready for an
No.
emergency. You can never be ready for anything, but what you can be ready for is how you react. And I just highly recommend that you don't react into your emotionals. Think about it before you let it go to your heart.
No.
Think about it, because when we let things into our subconscious mind and it's there and it's a marker in our mind, it can really be a trigger. It can be a sickness that you're imploding your heart to.
Yeah.
So we should always think with our thoughts before we let it go into our hearts.
Well, and I
Be-
I think that there are I've trained my mind. Obviously, anxiety and depression. I go to therapy every month, but I trained my brain to move away from what I did wrong, even though from time to time I will make myself wrong. I've converted in my brain is to move what I did wrong to a lesson, right?
Yeah.
The lessons I've learned is this. And
Yeah.
it's like, if it was heartbreaking, then so be it. It was heartbreaking. On the flip side of that is the opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's lessons or opportunities, but we
And
need to stop being so hard on ourselves, though.
yeah, but isn't it nice though that you say no matter what, when you own it,
Yeah,
that's half the battle. And
right.
so many people don't own it and say, well, I effed up. you know?
Yeah.
And Mary says, crisis
Crisis man.
management.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead, Lynn. Go ahead.
Crisis management planning works. Put resources in place way before anything happens.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what I did to set myself up for the 2 weeks I knew that my mom's dog was going to pass. I mean, I had to make sure I was strategic on where she had her last bath so that when I drive by, I don't go there. I mean, I had to do and think different things to just, set myself up to handle a situation. And it's better to, have friends that know. And last summer and when I came back, I've had health issues with my dog and stuff.
Hmm.
I mean, it's just I've kept those things just to my close friends, and I find that, we're all compassionate about animals. So I try
Right.
not to inflict the emotion of other people to go back to the animals they lost and things like that. I mean, I take ownership to put it in a way, like I said, now my mom's dog's with her. You know, she
Mhm.
has her. And I'd rather stay positive that way and look at that outcome than to be woe is me. And
Right.
so change is inevitable, but rightfully I do it so that I don't it doesn't hinder me. It just enhances the doing the right thing.
I think too is that as we wrap up today, I think that the more middle of the road you can train your brain to be, where you don't look for meaning, you just look at what happened and then you remove the meaning from it. Now, obviously, if it's a death or some kind of crisis, it's going to be very difficult to look at it rationally without emotion. But at first glance, though, if you can look for the opportunity, right? It might take you a while to find it, but if you train your brain to look for the opportunity, you're going to be a lot better off. And usually, it's by being in motion. It's by what actions you can take. More than likely, those actions are not even for you. They're actions for other people that you get a response by doing that for others, right? But the worst thing you can do is feel like there's nothing you can do. Like that's why when somebody passes away, one of the worst things that I think, and I've learned this because I went through it, is like, if there's anything I can do for you, worst thing to say,
Yeah.
because they're not in the right mind to even know what that is.
Right.
So taking advantage of that, the opportunity is they're probably not going to be eating all that well. Why don't you contract or pick up some food for them and have a ready-made meals?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you answer their question without even bringing it up. You're just in action, right?
Right.
Whatever that is, if it's food, if it's whatever, versus having it be something where you ask them a question that they're not in the right mind to answer anyway.
I love that. You just said a whole big mouthful of a lot of things, and I love everything you said, Brian.
Thank you.
This is definitely I'm gonna have to make a little clip of that for sure because there's just so much in it. I love your words. I love the way your mind thinks.
Thank you.
I love that we come up with these topics and things and just have fun with it and make light of it and just know that even if you don't change your mind on a thought, doesn't mean that it's already changed and you have to modify. You have to move from that. And I almost feel like we can do a part 2 of this, but all I'm
One of the
saying is
one of the best things that somebody can do is have a journal, right? And have it be a book of ideas, just
love that.
ideas, just things that might be radical, drawings, whatever. You know, there is no time sensitivity to it that you're going to get it done, but it's just something that will exist with you. And then if you reflect on it as time goes by, you have a record of it where you can either do nothing with or you can move it forward to bringing it out in the world, instead of having it sit there. Why do more work to remember something versus expanding upon what's already there?
I love it. You're awesome.
So are
All
you.
right. So I think I was going to ask you your final last words, but I think you had like 3 final last words. So I think
No,
that's
I just can't say enough about the opportunity. No
yeah.
matter what you're dealing with in life, instead of responding right away, it's kind of like you're in an upset state of mind and you want to respond back, thinking that that's going to make it better. That time in between, it's kind of like writing a term paper, writing something really important. And if you just can't get the wording down, go do something completely opposite, and then you come back and you look at it differently. It's the same thing here. Allow your brain to look for the opportunity because there is always one. You just have to find it. I,
Awesome.
I have a book
Very
called Ridiculously Good Ideas, 100%. Yep.
That's
Great,
awesome, Mary.
great,
All
Mary.
right. Well,
How about
Brian,
you? What's your final words?
my final words is that it's always good to talk to a good friend like you, Brian. And it's always
Thank you.
good to bounce just ideas and to talk to your friends and just, you know, it's not always asking for advice, but just always hearing somebody else's perspective different and just hanging it out. Like you bring out the silliness in me, and I love it. We could talk
Good.
about it's just, have that person. Brian's my person on that. And it really is it's a good feeling to know that just bouncing ideas, it gives you a different perspective. It moves the energy flow and the ideas. And things aren't always as bad as we make them up to be.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So, all right, Brian, I love you.
Love you too. Thanks
All right,
everybody
you
for
guys.
watching.
Okay, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.